Hello everyone, I am Kim with Abundant Life Tarot, and I wanted to do something fun to help us learn how to read a story in the cards. So let's say, I should mention, we're going to use an oracle. We're not going to use a tarot deck because I think sometimes we tend to get so caught up in the book meanings of things, which is fine. That's great. It's important to have the book knowledge when you are learning tarot. However, sometimes it's not the book meaning that's applicable or appropriate for the querent's answer. It could be something entirely intuitive from you, or a combination of both your book knowledge and your intuition, or what the surrounding cards in the reading are saying. And I find that oracle decks, not all of them, but some of them are able to really help us to connect the dots in the story, right? So let's work with that. Let's say we have a client who is facing a decision on whether to stay with their current company or to go, to leave, right? So we'll do 3 cards, right? So you have a client who comes to you and they're like, I don't know what to do. This job has kind of become stale. I don't feel valued. I feel kind of disrespected at times. It's just not what it used to be, etc. And you can tell this person's really struggling with what decision to make. So the cards that jump, because everyone who works with me knows I exclusively work with jumpers. The cards that jump was Churning Seas, Hidden Beauty. I want to make sure I get all these in the frame. And then To Carry Your Brother. So the Churning Seas could be interpreted as, this is a stormy situation for the querent. It's stormy maybe in the external environment of this person's life, as well as at the workplace, at home. There's a lot of things emotionally going on here with the Churning Seas. Water represents emotions. Churning and kind of violent seas represents turbulent emotions. So this current job has been stirring up a lot of turbulent emotion for this client. And it could also be influenced by things that feel very much outside the control of the querents, realm of what they can control. They feel like they're at the mercy of this job. And then you have the Hidden Beauty, and then To Carry Your Brother. Now, you could say, okay, well, what is the tool here in this situation is find the hidden beauty in this situation. Is it that you're feeling like you're not being supported? Maybe you are ready for a promotion and you're not feeling supported, so maybe it's time to express that. Maybe it's time to show your skills of how you support your strong teammate, or maybe you have done that over and over again, and maybe this card signals to find a type of employment that is mutually gratifying and that you feel supported as much as you're supporting the career or job that you are working for. And so the hidden beauty of that situation is that you'll come out on the other side feeling more closely to how you want to feel in this situation. And there may either be something that's minimal as you expressing your feelings to your boss, or starting to put yourself out there and helping others, scratching their back so they scratch yours so you can get a leg up. Or it could mean entirely that you go to an organization that does support you as well as you supporting them. So that's how we tell a story. So when you're talking about incorporating the tarot meanings, so you see, then I could say if this were, Churning Seas, maybe it's the 5 of Cups, or some level of disappointment, and also an emotional, reaction to that. So then, you can kind of draw upon your knowledge of what the 5 of Cups mean, for example. Or maybe it represents, you know, if this were the Tower card, that totally changes the meaning of how this reading would go, right? Let's pretend this was the Tower card versus just a churning seas. And then the hidden beauty, what is the hidden beauty? That's the key to moving forward to where you're trying to go. And the hidden beauty could be all of this emotional turmoil and upheaval is leading you to a much better solution of feeling supported. So that's how we start to formulate the stories. It also is very important. And some people will say, oh, it's not that important. In my world, it is. It's very important to get clear about your client's question. And if you can't get clear, you pose it, you take their information, they want to talk about their job, but then you formulate the question for the cards. That's where the art comes in of being a tarot reader or oracle card reader. Is sometimes our querents or the people who seek out readings don't have the ability to articulate what kind of questions they want. They might also pull a bunch of different stuff out of the sky, and you have, as the reader, have to kind of see really what is the question at hand. And I always parrot the question back to them to make sure I understood it or I have it correctly. And I also might even add a little extra depth to it, that I know that when I'm reading the cards, I know that that's going to help the reading. So that's where that beautiful magic comes from, where you are really honing in on that question, because that's important. That really drives the reading, really, is the question. And yes, obviously the cards that correspond to it, but if you ask a really weird question or some kind of off question, even if the client gave it to you, you're going to probably get a weird result reading. So it's important to have a very good question to support your reading. So I think in the future I may do either a class or some videos on that, because a lot of people underestimate the power of the question, and it should not be underestimated, because it'll make your readings a whole heck of a lot easier out the gate if you're clear about what's being asked. And so, yeah, so that's just one example. So we'll shuffle those back in. That's one example. So we'll do one more example. We don't want this to be too long of a video, but I'm hoping you're getting the gist of how you tell the story, and how the corresponding cards kind of also, not kind of, but does drive home the message as well. So let's say we have a client wondering, should they make a move? They've been wondering, should they, now that they're turning, 45, and they've been living in one spot for 20 years and they're bored, and they sense that something's going on. Maybe they should move. Maybe they should change careers. They're not sure. And so you say, okay, well, sounds like, you want to know what's next on your journey, but more importantly, what is that? Where are you going next? Where is this person going next, Spirit? Where are they going next? And any guidance you can provide for their journey. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, we got, I'm sure I did them in order. So we got tornado, lightning, and set sail. And so I'm feeling a sense of there's been a lot of upheaval, during this time for this person, a lot of things kicking up for them, turning things kind of upside down and on its head, and having them really analyze and look at their situation. It's all this clearing. It feels like it could be maybe some downsizing at the company, and your hours are cut, or you got a demotion and it felt outside of your control, or perhaps the neighborhood has gone to hell and you don't really, it's just every night it's some sort of tumultuous event going on the block, and it's just constant upheaval. The pandemic has a lot of people looking at how they've been living their life and realizing it's been nothing but a tornado. And so I think for this person, this is like confirmation of how they've been feeling, and that this is an opportunity to actually ride the storm, so to speak. To, the storm is actually the blessing here. It's the catalyst for change, because had the storm not come up or stir up or happened, this may not have occurred, where you're now getting a lightning strike, like a new idea, a new bit of inspiration that you're downloading, right? That's hitting. Strike now. Strike while it's hot. Strike. This lightning strike is saying, yes, you are on the right track. It is time to move. It is time to make, and once you've made this decision, everything electrifies in your life. Once you've made the decision to move forward, move on. And further confirmation of that is set sail. Go ahead, take that long extended trip. Go live abroad. Try something new. Set sail on a new career path. Set sail on a new adventure. But yes, all those things that you're sensing is leading you up to you set sailing and going off into the distance of happiness. So don't be afraid. It is a tumultuous time, but it's time to try to ground yourself as best as possible. We have different techniques to do that, etc. And you can even use the card decks too to explore what ways can they do to manage this big change that they're going through. What tools can they have at their disposal? So we can say, okay, what tools to help this client set sail? Okay, that's too many. We don't have all day. Uh-oh. What tools? 1 or 2 cards would be fine. Let's see. Okay. So we got, as far as tools go, the beaten path, treehouse, and then beach. And I have this beach card in this high level perspective because you can see this person here. They kind of have a bird's eye view of this situation. Okay, so the beaten path. Now you could either interpret this, don't go off the beaten path. See how others have moved on, follow their path on how they were able to make a transition. So start researching that. Start asking questions. Going on social media, going in YouTube and Googling, or searching for, maybe you want to try a new career, searching videos for that. Or maybe you want to live abroad, or you want to sell everything and see what that's like. There's a YouTube channel for everything. So finding that beaten path for you. Or it could be interpreted, don't go on the beaten path. Try something new. This is a whole new territory for you. And so then you can look at the next cards to see which direction really should this person go in, right? And you've got the treehouse and beach. And so these 2 cards might be telling us about this beaten path. Remember, there's 2 ways we could approach the beaten path. And the client could approach it those ways too, both ways. Both ways aren't wrong. But when you look at these 2 cards here, the treehouse and the beach with the beaten path, it's almost saying, don't go on the beaten path. Gain a new perspective, your own perspective with this treehouse. It's kind of isolated. Only one person can climb up the ladder at a time to go into what seems to be almost like a 1-room treehouse. Find your path. Go on. It's a journey. You don't have to rush it. You can be take a meandering walk for as long as you need, but maintaining your perspective. Don't get so sucked into, down to this level where you can't see the full picture. It's important where you're at to be able to see the big picture. And you need to be able to see that so you don't get so discouraged by the day-to-day details it's going to take to move you to set sailing. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about here when we're talking about connecting the dots, so to speak. You have your client's question. You have the cards that are surrounding the other cards that's really telling the story or moving the story along. And yeah, I'm happy to do more of these little exercises, and I encourage you to do this on your own as well. You can take one of your favorite tarot decks or your oracle decks and just come up with hypothetical situations, right? Hypothetical things that, and really ponder them. I almost believe that you are answering a client's question, and pretend like there is someone sitting across from you. Even better, pull out your phone and record it and watch back and see how your story plays out for, you know, how the story would play out for your client. So those are some tips that I have for you to really help you build your confidence and skills in reading the cards, answering your client's question perfectly, most times, of course. We all can't be perfect all of the time. But this is going to give you some much more level of success. And I am going to probably try it with a tarot deck at some point in the future. But we'll continue to practice. We'll continue to practice with Oracle until I think that we can move on to the tarot. But we'll do a few of these exercises first, because I think it's important that we play around with just the oracle first. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And let me know your thoughts on how you need to learn a little bit more on how to tell the story in your card readings. I'm happy to hear from you. I'm also happy to hear the suggestions that many of you, I'm sure, have. And it will be just so appreciated if you leave those in the comments section below. All right, guys, thank you so much. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.